everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Lifting for Tuesday, May 15th, 2018. I am Joanna Michaels, and I am here today with my co-hosts, Katrina Schaff and Christopher Stephen Jacobs. Today's show was pre-recorded because we wanted to add channeling that Chris had recorded a while back. Tonight, we want to talk about all we know about things that reside in what appears to be darkness. Oftentimes, all of these things are lumped into one large category called the shadow people. And most people's initial response to this is one of malevolence and beware, which we certainly understand and have most certainly experienced ourselves. But this category is so large that it also encompasses misunderstood benevolence at times. So we want to discuss it further to help encourage and empower you to take a closer look at times to really discern what is going on. And if you have been following us, then hopefully you understand that protecting oneself and exploration are both vital to understanding the world around us better. So we are going to encourage both of these concepts tonight, with the emphasis of always remembering to protect oneself before exploring, of course. But first, let's have the opening affirmation and blessing.
Please discern truth from falsehood. Sense what feels right or wrong, and use discrimination when making choices, beliefs, or friends. Wisdom will help prompt you to consider what serves your intuition and learn to trust it so you make discernments wisely. Then let go of these aspects that may be alluring, but no longer resonate with your sense of self or your life's purpose.
Thanks, Katrina. Before we talk on tonight's topic, I was asked by some friends to share some thoughts on what is going on in regards to the energetic changes happening to us all. As most of you have heard from us and others, including Simon Parks from our last show, it has been pretty hard for a lot of us. Oppressive attacks have been at an all-time high for many, with not much of a break or breather between attacks. It has been wearing, to say the least. For those of you who have not felt much oppression, then I say a true, heartfelt good for you. And I am so glad that someone is not feeling it. But in all honesty, you are in the minority. And why? It is my opinion that it is because of where we are within the 4D corridor going into 5D. I believe many of us have intellectualized that going through this transition from 3D to 5D may not be the piece of cake that we would want to occur, because of all of the shedding and letting go of old ways of beings and thought processes that no longer serve us. And now we are experiencing exactly what that means. True understanding is not just intellectualization. It must be experienced to be fully understood. Okay, so why am I confused and profoundly sad at this time? In my opinion, many are feeling so many conflicting emotions and profound sadness towards so many different things: people, friends, places, the world, and who we are and what is going on, with such great confusion because we cannot see what is actually going on within our energetic field and our cellular DNA. We have all been challenged to discover who we really are. And if you have been working at it, you have been more authentic in living your truth. What has been coming into our lives lately have provided opportunities of contrast to perfect our understanding of ourselves and our desires. For me and others, one interesting common theme has arisen. In spite of the obstacles that seem to come our way, instead of giving up, we have become more persistent, which makes sense if you think about it, because we now, more than ever, understand who we are, and we are asserting our right to be ourselves. Before, maybe we were not sure, and so we folded every now and then. But now it's a different story. We are becoming surer, more authentic, and less vulnerable to the whims of past doubt. We cannot see all of the energetic shedding that is occurring and the recoding of our DNA. But if you could, maybe you would be amazed at the fact that you are only sleeping a few hours longer each day rather than 24/7. And you would definitely be amazed that you are interacting with anyone at all, because this is not easy. What is also occurring at this time is that we are naturally realizing that as we present ourselves more authentically to others, that we are seeing others' conversations and actions as showing us where they are in this process. And unfortunately, as we just honor where others are, we are starting to see that there are different perspectives where once you believe there was common thought. There is nothing wrong with this. It is just that with such realizations as this, there is a bit of sadness and mourning that occurs when you have to let go of one truth when you begin to see another. All perfectly normal, although it may leave you feeling a bit lonely at times. And knowing all of this, you know how I feel. Well, I'll tell you, honestly, it sucks, okay? I can't say that I wouldn't have minded sleeping through this part, but I guess we're not allowed to. You don't have to pretend that this is all glorious and great. I mean, you can if you want to, but I would have just preferred reading the short synopsis if I could have gotten away with that and still shed what no longer served me. Now, I am extremely grateful to be moving forward, but I do roll my eyes at the process at times. I'm guessing a normal human response. And no, I'm not sure that in the future I will look back and say how glorious this part was for me. I think I will still say that it sucked, but I am glad I was brave enough to go through it. So for me, I have decided to just slowly wake up and take each day as it comes. With all of the different emotions and thoughts running through my head, I think it would be wise not to expect too much at this time. Just a little forward movement at a time will work. Maybe if I am feeling a bit frustrated, then I will set my goal for the day to just not get in a fight, just walk away and breathe some fresh air. Or if I go to the store, I will hold the door for someone as well as just smile at them. I mean, I guess that would brighten my day at times. It is a process for sure, but believe me, if any of this resonates with you, rest assured, you are moving forward. Just hang in there. And so now for tonight's topic. And I am going to admit up front that I was certainly always afraid of the dark. I can remember as a little girl dreading bedtime because it meant the darkness. I was afraid of what could be in my closet and under my bed. At times, I was even afraid of the dolls looking back at me from the bottom of my bed. Those dolls, once my daytime friends, now became a potential threat as I waited for them to rise as zombies, now coming to hurt me. I wish I could blame this on my parents for letting me watch all of those horror films and shows, and it was their fault I was terrorized at bedtime, but they didn't do that. So I pondered for many years why I had such irrational fears. Now much older, and with a newer understanding of the world around us, I realized that there was an actual sinister plot, not just to me, but my siblings as well experienced it. There were monsters around harassing us. One of my most reoccurring dreams as a very young child was being placed in a tall high chair. I sat there as I saw bombs and other things being dropped to hurt all around me. And there I was, stuck in a tall high chair, just helplessly watching in horror, not knowing what to do or how to make it stop. Why would such a small child have such a horrible reoccurring dream? And although I remembered this when I awoke, I never spoke about it. This affected me so greatly that I prayed every night that I would stop dreaming. And so after a while, I stopped remembering. You see, causing a dissociation by the hands of darkness starts early in many families. I tell you this because this most definitely affected how I feel about anything in darkness. And I feel that I am not alone. Many of you, if you take a moment to ponder, may realize that misunderstood events from when you were quite young shape the way you feel about all things that go bump in the night. So as we talk about these things and you ponder on it, please take the time to think how you came to your own feelings about things of the dark. I have to tell you that my attitude did not change much for most of my life up until a few years ago when I finally took the time to consider spending time outdoors at night. My desire to see the stars began to outweigh my fears. Then the possibility of fairies came into existence, and I believe I began to see a fluttering of them every now and then, so I stayed out more. I actually had a small little sanctuary on my back porch and stayed out more and more, feeling quite safe. And I had just a few times when I got up and was brave enough to go outside at 2 or 3 in the morning. I was not cured by any sense of the imagination, but I was willing to reassess my understandings and fears. It really wasn't until an incident occurred to me almost 1 year ago that once I really understood what it was, it made me realize that I had to reassess my thoughts. Last year, on a night where Chris and I were on an out-of-town trip and staying in a hotel, we finally settled down for sleep. It was after midnight, so technically it was June 1st, 2017. We heard some buzzing and realized that my cell phone was on, and so I got up to shut it off so we could not be disturbed by its buzzing throughout the night. There was a faint light in the room, so I bravely got up in the darkness to make it to my purse to shut it off. I had not quite made it to my purse when I looked up to see and feel only what I can describe as a huge black board that zoomed to me and through me. My only reaction was that it was a dark board and thus darkness. So I flipped on a light and ran back to the bed and got under the covers. I was really shooken up and told Chris he would have to turn it off and the lights and that something bad just occurred. Chris could certainly sense energy, but could not quite identify it. So he, of course, scanned the area for trouble and tried to soothe me. We then resettled ourselves and went to sleep. When we got up the next morning and I turned on my phone and Chris turned his on, we then saw a slurry of attempted phone calls and texts from family. I called my sister to find out that my 48-year-old brother had just unexpectedly died from complications from an accident he was in 3 weeks earlier. It took Chris about 10 seconds to understand all that had occurred. You see, before we went to bed, Chris was having certain visions of things we may potentially do, but he realized that someone in the family was missing, and he told me that he thought a death may soon occur. He then recognized the energy signature. That energy that I had instantaneously perceived as darkness was actually my brother coming through to see me before he left this earthly plane. He visited all the family before his human body expired that night. And I now understand that this is actually a common occurrence. I don't guilt myself for not knowing, but it most certainly opened my eyes to the fact that I had a lot to learn and unlearn. Luckily for me and other members of my family, my brother wasted no time letting us know he was okay and still present in our lives. So I, like you, decided to deny the known and learn more. And what I understand now is that lumping anything into all good or all bad keeps us from understanding a bigger truth. And as Chris is going to introduce to you in a bit, there are wonderful, benevolent beings who just prefer an environment with less bright light. And this is where the indigenous tribes around the world historically knew of these facts and had incorporated this benevolence into their lives. I don't think I ever felt safe enough to even take the time to try and discern truth from mistruth in this area before recently. But now, like many of you, I am gaining confidence in myself and my guides that I can protect myself and thus take the time to discern a bit more instead of just a knee-jerk reaction. And that is our encouragement. Gain the confidence in your ability to protect yourself and then be willing to deny the known and explore the truth of things one more time. You will be amazed. Katrina?
Good evening, everyone. There are so many beliefs and opinions on what shadow people are and why they exist. These beings can appear as a shadow or a black mass or a mist, but most reports say the people perceive them as a patch of shadow of a humanoid figure. Some feel they are trapped spirits or ghosts, while others, both religious and non-religious, feel they are demons. There are many theories, but it is not necessarily that cut and dry. As we said in our show on Ascended Masters, just because something is dark does not make it bad, and just because something is surrounded by light does not make it good. Jesus said he was the light of the world, and that Satan was the prince of darkness, which reinforces light being good and dark being bad. It meant that light was holy and sacred, and dark was evil. There was not much talk about anything about shades of gray. There are all shades of light and all shades of dark. Yes, dark can be evil, and light can be pure, but we cannot perceive everything as going by that rule. Personally, I've had several experiences with shadow people that are good and also not dead. I've had people that were in a coma or close to dying come to me as shadows to tell me that what they need to say about our situation or just to say goodbye. I feel these cases are shadows or essence of people having out-of-body experiences and or astral traveling. These were loving experiences and far from negative or evil. If I had judged the shadow and not listened to the message, I would have missed out on their visit and the words they said that have stayed with me long after they passed. People do not have to be sick or in a coma to come to you while they are alive. Their essence can leave their bodies and come to you just because you're on their mind. They are missing you, they love you, or they want to make sure you're okay. Some people who leave their bodies do not even know they're doing it. Don't go automatically into fear because of a shadow, because it could be someone you love. I have read many theories and I have talked to people that have experienced shadow people or dark masses. Here are some of the things I have heard. It has been said that shadow people dart from shadow to shadow to avoid the gaze of God, that their souls are rebelling against God and his agenda. Some feel the shadow is a being that has died but was not good and moral and in life, as the phrase says, as in life, so as in death. Some may choose to remain negative instead of becoming enlightened after death. We have talked about this on other shows, that ghosts that have not gone on to the afterlife may remain unchanged after death. They were a jerk in life, most likely they were a jerk in death. There are belief systems that call these shadow people non-spiritual beings or creatures or supernatural beings like shades of the underworld or hell. They claim they are dark silhouettes with human profiles and shapes that fake and flitter in and out of your peripheral vision, and that some of them will attempt to jump on you and choke you. This can be true regarding becoming physical and attacking you. This is also true for all negative beings, shadow or not. I read a philosophy that said these shadows are caused by physiological and psychological conditions. One condition is sleep paralysis, where they perceive the shadow or a mass as evil, and they become paralyzed and terrified. They automatically assumed, because it was black, it was evil, and they were under attack. Some addicts have reported shadow people after sleep deprivation. They claim they see them in doorways, walking behind them, or coming straight at them. Are they hallucinations? Or are they seeing these shadows or dark beings because they have chosen to use drugs or to overdrink? Could they possibly be drawing these beings because of the lifestyle they lead? I do know that ghosts hang around bars and people using drugs because they want to continue to experience the highs and the lives they led when they were alive. There are certainly other examples and reasons why a person can draw things that are not for their highest good, not just addiction. Those are just two examples. Shadow people can also appear in mirrors. I have seen them out of the corner of my eye as I pass a mirror. I've seen darkness, but I've also seen someone I love. Both were shadows, both were dark, but I had to discern whether it was good or bad. These shadows can be black, white, or many shades in between. Other reports say they have yellow or red eyes. Yes, they could be a demon, or they may be coming through a dimension that distorts their true color or their mass or their eyes. Also, sun rays or bright lights can make a shadow person become lighter or distorted depending on the direction the light shines on them. Many people have one-time experiences with shadow people, and others claim they have been with them for years. Others claim they are dressed as medieval monks or wearing hats. They have a lot of hair or they're bald, and some claim they are sexless. I personally think you would have to be seeing more than just a shadow to see such details, but everyone experiences everything differently. In my experience, benign shadow people come into our lives briefly. They stop momentarily, acknowledge you, and then move on. These are usually astral travelers or loved ones. Negative ones seem to lurk, and I get a feeling of fear and sometimes terror. They can interact physically, such as touching and even attacking. The ones they mentioned as hooded ones or monks, to me, normally feel extremely angry and are not usually positive. Some can be demonic entities, ghosts, or interdimensional beings, or they can be just plain harmless. Just discern. Some harmless shadows that linger and watch can be also benign. Could they possibly be entities that are watching us from a dimension or realm slightly removed from our own? It all comes down to this. When you encounter something new, strange, or even frightening, do not assume that it is bad or it is good. Like everything in life, please discern. We cannot say that enough. Some dark shadows are bad and even worse, and some light and all shades in between are not always good. You need to figure out through discernment, through your heart space, who and what they are before you panic, and especially before you adore them. Shadows of all shades could be someone very good that is coming through for your highest good. By going into fear, you may miss a very important message, or miss a message from a loved one that is there to validate they are okay, and that they're just as alive as you are. Thank you for listening.
All right, yeah, that was very good. Let me see here. All right. There is a misconception out there as to what shadow people actually are. There are actually a variety of very different beings out there that are lumped into the shadow people category. I will list both good and bad influences that have been placed in this category. The Greys, Mantids, and Reptilians. During abductions, harassment, and observations, these guys can appear to be shadow people. These beings, unfortunately, are some of the known majority of shadow people, at least in the alien sense. Hatmen. This very weird rendition of the Harvesters is often seen wearing a fedora and a suit, very much like the Men in Black. This is another form the Harvester AI takes, just like the Grim Reaper look. Mimickers. These resemble a black sheet or cheesecloth appearance with a face. Ghosts. They can also have a shadowy look, especially if the person is in the process of passing or has just died. Interdimensional beings. Beings such as elementals often get lumped into the demon or shadow people category simply because of their vibrational frequency in comparison to our own. What I mean is this. We exist in a low bandwidth, and beings such as fairies and Grimpa exist in a higher one. When we look at one of them with our eyes, sometimes our lower vibration casts a shadow on them, making it appear that they are dark blobs or dark silhouettes. I made this mistake once where I thought an angry Grimpa was a demon simply because he was angry humans were on his land and that he appeared to my eyes as a shadowy figure. I came to find out that he actually had black hair and that I could only partially see him. Cloaked beings. Some galactics, usually Agarthans, will surround themselves in what I call a charcoal layer for protection. Oftentimes, this layer resembles black smoke or fog and will make the being look like they just exited from the gates of hell. This has often been interpreted as such throughout history. Shalico masks. I came to find out from the Viking as well as the guides that masks can often hold within them a consciousness of a being very much like one of my skulls or one of Joanna's consciousness constructs. These masks were used in ceremonies all over the world. In some cases, witch doctors and priests would use them to scare away potential demons and other ill entities. Some of these beings within these masks even would destroy the offending entity. Shalico is an advanced form of channeling, whereas the person, or in some cases, mask wearer, will literally become the channeled entity. Sorak, Benavi, and others fall under this category. Sorak is the Indonesian mask that I got from the Viking. He's that big colorful mask with all the hair. And Benavi is the African witch doctor mask. I have two channelings I did where we were on the Vikings farm that I will play after I'm finished speaking. One is from an Iroquois night spirit who inhabited a mask made of corn husks. This being came through to speak of her realm that we know as the Shadow Realm. The Shadow Realm is not a place of pure evil or darkness. It is a realm of night that is in parallel tandem to our own realm. The beings there look like you would expect, shadows, but they are quite benevolent. They have been around us for centuries and have been assisting us in our spiritual evolution. They give us downloads and ideas that help further us along on our path. The other person channeled that I spoke of the Shadow Realm, the other person channeled that spoke of the Shadow Realm was Odin himself. He spoke of biases, as did the Night Spirit, how we tend to lump the Shadow Realm in with evil because of our religious beliefs. Sorak is inhabiting a mask that is from Indonesia. The dancers wore his mask to scare away demons, but I found out that his species actually eats them and transmutes the energy in a more balanced one. Benavi, the one utilizing the witch doctor mask, also transmutes the bad guys in a similar way. He inhales them very much like smoke and transmutes them within himself. This is actually where I believe this practice came from, where humans thought they could take demons into themselves, which I never recommend, and I am overly emphasizing that right now. Only these particular beings have advanced to the point where they can do that. If a human tries that, they are falling for a trick. Sorak is a being that is part physical and part energy, and he looks similar in appearance to his mask, except that his mask is far more exaggerated, a caricature. Benavi looks like an African warrior, priest, or medicine man, except that his race is over 80 feet tall. They are one of the races that contributed to our genome. Now, on to the galactic contribution, and tonight I am editing in a pre-recorded channeling with a race of the Shadow People and Odin. This channeling was done at the home of the Viking in April.
Right?
See the change you wish to see and manifest in the world, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get you a preview on this, but before we go into the
Yeah.
get an idea. This is a female, and she's a night spirit.
Okay.
She's
Oh my gosh.
she's Iroquois.
Oh,
Maybe we
wow.
can bring her in the next hour.
Yeah.
That's up to you, though. It's your choice. So she asked if you can, you know,
My goodness.
she's very old Native American night spirit. Again, Shalako mask, made of corn husks.
Oh, wow. There's definitely consciousness with this.
Oh yeah, I have to cover her up. I had to take her out of the room.
She doesn't mind this at all. In fact, it's preferred
What?
to be covered and uncovered.
Well, she's preferred to be covered. Red, because she's a night spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she asked to come out, so I just brought her out.
Oh, wow.
Something was telling me that they wanted to like, they got a bunch of masks in there. I got a bunch of masks, and
That's
I was trying to
amazing.
figure out which one is wanting to come out, and it was her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
I bought her at an auction for $750.
That's amazing.
She's priceless.
Mm-hmm.
I want to repatriate her with her tribe. They're up in Canadian border of New York.
Wow.
So I'm gonna at some point I have to go up there and.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that where she's from?
Yes.
And she knows that I want to do this, right?
Yes. But yeah, this. Whew.
Powerful spirit. She freaks a lot of people out, so I have to keep her covered.
Mm-hmm. She says, "Good."
Is she the same elemental as the other, the first mask?
No.
Or is she different?
She's different.
She's
She's a different classification again.
Totally.
Yeah. Oh my.
She's it's like the owl, okay? The owl that brings change and transformation and helps people to move forward in their dimensional evolution. So she's there to help people achieve a higher grace if they're Koyaanisqatsi, which is Hopi for out of balance.
Mm-hmm.
She in this ceremony that she comes out and the person puts it on, a girl, a woman, it'll be for very in the female realm of healing and achieving their stature of womanhood.
Yes, she says that is only a fraction of what.
I bet.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to pretend I know. I'm just trying to give my assertion. But yes.
Amazing.
Anyway, you feel like, does she want to speak?
Oh yeah.
You feel like you want to do this?
Yeah, but she says she'll approach this a little differently. She said if she lingers too long in my frame, she could damage me. So she's a very completely different kind of energy.
I bet.
Darian has left since, but a new being has come in here in Viking's home. He's uncovered another a mask, I believe, that has it's basically another consciousness construct. That's how I describe these anyway. That's my terminology. But oh my God, this being is a very another very different being than even Sorak was. This is this is another one for my personal glossary of beings that I have been constructing. So let's see what part of this did she want to touch on? Oh, wow. Okay, how do you want to communicate? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I'll follow your lead. All right. What do you need me to do? Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, you come in through this direction, not from behind. All right. This being what she's doing is wanting to come in through my eyes versus from behind, like a lot of the other beings that I deal with do.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, oh. Am I? This is very strange because I'm being kept in control, but as is she. Look, we're both one at the moment. What did you? What do you wish to say? I will be brief because I am at a stage in my own evolution that I am too strong for this being that I speak through. Humans, though they feel they are the lesser under a great God, do not yet fully understand, but will in the soon future times, you would say, that they are the God that they pray to. When you pray to something outside of your own self, not only do you denigrate your inner God, but you denigrate that which you do not understand as of yet. This is not judgment, this is observation. I do not judge, nor do I care to. In this particular moment in your histories, I must say this: time as you know it ceases. Reality as you know it moves forward, but only until the understanding that your reality is not what it appears to be comes to fruition. My purpose, my species, all of you would say, does this in the dark of night, under the stars, in your illusion, outside of your illusion, in your reality, outside of your reality. We come through the energy of night. We are not shadow, we are not light. We exist in the spaces between night and what you perceive as night. This is not the essence of between time, spaces, as some would think. I am saying we come in times in the night not to protect, not to denigrate, not to steal one's energy as other shadows in the night do often. What we do is simple, at least by our terms. Our trading of consciousness, trading of ideas, trading of strings, as you say, of energy, not in an entanglement, except in the cosmic kind. The ideas, or your downloads, you would say, give us knowledge as we give you knowledge. I am more akin to the dark of night, but this does not necessarily always mean evil. Your humankind, when you hear the term dark of night or shadow, you automatically think devil, demon, Lucifer, Satan. No. I am none of these, and never have been. My kind is from a realm of shadow. This shadow realm exists in parallel tandem to your own. In your dark of night is the time in which we flourish because it is most like our realm. Even the brightness of stars does not deter us because we are not allergic, as you would say, to the light. However, we prefer night and prefer our shadow realm. This realm has been spoken about in your mythologies on many an occasion, but has only been interpreted as far as the human bias is concerned. The human bias is something I wish to project on further. Bias, in and of itself, is a fallacy. This fallacy usually determines the shape of your world, the shape of your ideas, the shape of whatever you are working on. When you speak to my kind, do you see me as a being of the realm of shadow, or do you see me as demon? Demon would determine bias. Bias must go by the wayside, and in a meaningful exchange of ideas, creativity, and energy, not being given up, but information being transmitted on the quantum level, you would say. In this, in our realm of shadow, we watch you, we listen to you, we listen to your ideas, your creativities, and your fallacies. And we must say that in this wanting time, in this wishing time, as you would all call it, for something greater, you miss the point completely by saying wishing and wanting. This is not to be so with your kind. You must exist now, right now, no future, no past. This is a time of now. In my realm of shadow and information, we have no time such as yours. You measure a fallacy. You exist in fallacy. This is not a denigration toward your kind. This is an observation. We see things in both logic and love. In this, we have also assisted some of your scientific endeavors in certain areas and spiritual endeavors in others. In this, we also help you to understand what it is that fails you in the night and also inspires you in the day. In this, we wish to show you certain ways of being, but not push you into this. We have opened the door many times for your kind in this, but it is up to your kind to walk through all the doors we have opened for you. There are timetables in which we can do this. Yes, I just stated there is no time, but in your construct of time, there are openings in windows and doors. In this timing exists for you. So therefore, in your linear way of thinking, you would see this information come in a matter of windows and doors, both closed and open, at once, at least from our perception point. This may seem overtly complex, but this will not be so when your kind reaches its pinnacle of opportunity. In this, I give you all a blessing from the realm of shadow. I would say my name currently. Your kind would not be able to currently pronounce it. So, just know, when you think of shadow, do not associate the bias you have with the demons of your church, when in fact, they are the true demons of your world. Thank you.
The shadow world is metaphysically a very prominent perspective, gives us alternate reality. You know, she speaks of bias because we're locked into these ideas and constructs of how life is. But it takes going into the shadow world to really understand and to see the fallacies and the distractions that life can bring. I consider myself a shadow warrior. I've always I've always been one step in the firelight and one step in the darkness. You have to hold this balance. You have to find the strength and courage to overcome the fear. You find the strength and courage within, and in this knowledge, you basically are untouchable. You know, you find your immortality beyond these false constructs and these false timelines that bias exists. You know, these fears that we have been entangling us in this addictive behavior, trying to manipulate time, trying to manipulate our reality. But once you find this solace in your shadow being, where some of the most prominent work is done. You know, plants during the day absorb photosynthesis, and at nighttime they absorb it, and this is the time that they grow, they expand. You know, so too with us, we go through our daily activities, but it's through our subconscious, unconscious dream state that we unravel the mysteries and the entanglements that await us. This is the shadow world. Outside of your conscious perception, there's always an alternative modality that very few of us know that exists. All your witches and crones and wizards and shamans have taken advantage. The Aborigines, they've all taken advantage of the shadow world to be able to manifest and to dive into these mysteries beyond our perception. They've been able to divine and foretell the future. The Mayas would go into chambers in the up in Chaco. They go into these chambers, and they would be able to project themselves into the future to divine their calendar. This is all in the shadow world. It's a very powerful place to be, and you have to be ready for it and be able to accept and understand that if you're not totally rock solid, you can't be swept away. You have to be rock solid with your inner core belief structure that nothing can permeate you. Nothing can influence you outside of your truer understanding. She speaks about these threads. These are gossamer threads that are linking up to your higher states of awareness, your quantum light language, where all the great minds have divined their virtuosity throughout time. It is our new state of communication that we are that's being unveiled at this time. Again, you have to believe that this is part of who you are. It's you looking at you. It's you looking into a reflective pool to see this higher dimensional state of your soul grouping, of your conscious awareness. It's an alternate perspective. Chris.
Oh yes, so that was actually that was good, Viking. But yeah, I'm slightly discombobulated from that, but it's just fine. Yeah, this energy she brought through to talk about the shadow realm. Odin told me about this place once, that back on ancient Maldek, when the Asgardian kingdom still existed, these beings, I feel what I'm getting from her, actually existed there with them, and oh wow, yeah. Whew. Give me just a moment. Yeah, she actually was continuing to transmit to me as Viking was talking, and I'm getting things on a more quantum level. But there is somebody here. Oh, wow. Somebody here that that wishes to speak further on this point. I believe this is somebody that I don't really hear from very often, and oh wow, and this is okay. I got to confirm this being's identity. Show me. All right. No, when I say show me, I mean the heart space, feeling of the heart space. And can you now say who you are verbally? All right. First, I thought this was Michael that was here, but this is actually his father, Odin. So they look pretty much alike. So let's see. Okay. Haven't channeled you in a while because you were in audit recently. So let's see what you have to say on this subject of biases. Is that what you also want to talk about? Oh wow, you're coming through with a very new, higher energy than before. Ooh. All right. Let's see. And that just spiked my energy a bit here. So let's see. Oh, you're coming through slightly aggressively. All right. Give me a minute. To all of you, you know me as Odin. You would know me as an all-father, an all-seeing, and all-knowing. This, I am sorry to say, is a bias. There is no all-father. There is no all-mother. There is an energy that binds you all as source code. This one here would say, there is no all-father because there is no thought base for such a thing except in the realm of bias. You know me as this because your own kind wrote me into existence as this. Yes, did I rule over your system as a kingly figure? Of course, I did. But I had many others in my family tree that did as such as well. I had many sons and many grandsons. I had many family, friends, and soul family around me always, even in the dark times. Yes, there were that for me. How these stories carried from one generation to the next was because of the fact that they were honoring myself and my family because they were of such and are of such. In this, the bias infiltrated because of the true darkness. And I wish to distinct, as the lovely one here said about that, and shadow. There is shadow and power in shadow. As the light is your shield, the shadow is your sword. In this, I will distinct between the darkness and shadow. Darkness is within all of us, and so is light, but the perception is such of the duality is a falsehood, also a bias. There is an overage that has been mentioned many times that came from outside that actually grew the other half, you would say, of you into something that it was not. That is an overage. Now, I will distinct between that and shadow. You walk with the shadow next to you always, seen and unseen, heard and unheard. You walk in both light and shadow. You have influences within you of sun and moon, not of falsehoods of sun and moon, which is a bias. Moon of falsehood, meaning binary network. Sun of falsehood, meaning solar flash and dark sun. Truth, meaning the power of stars and your sky and the power of other celestial bodies. Truth, in the shadow realm, there exist beings that wish to assist and to learn more from you as you learn from them. Falsehood, these beings are not the demons of myth and lore. Oh no, far from it. These are benevolent, balanced beings that I actually had counsel with quite often in my court, you would call it. These beings are not from my world. They are not of the house of M, Epsilon, or the universal constant. Oh no. This is a realm that exists outside of all of those. This exists a state of physicality and energy. This place that you would call the shadow realm. This place that you exist in your night by performing rituals of fire, shadow, snow, ice, rain, and ground and earth and sky, exists in your hearts as well as your minds, but has been fictionalized and has been demonized. In this magic of which I speak exists in your minds as a fine line, but in your hearts as an open reality. As I've said, think light shield, think sword shadow. In this, one is defense, and the other, not so much, but again, in this linear way of thinking that is also bias. I will try to laymanize this. Think of a being that thinks only of you as a source of love. Think of a being, much like yourselves, that thinks of you as nothing but a well of eternal knowledge and a wellspring of joy, happiness, and balance. Think of now of an overage that is the opposite of this, and it influences people to think all shadow is them, when in fact it is not. Think for a moment, when you sit by a light of a fire, what is it casting against? Say you have wood in this fire. Say you are tending this fire that you sit around with your dearest friends and family and soul family. Think of the flickering of the fire and the shadow that it casts on the ground. Is that shadow on the ground evil? No, it is not. That shadow tells a story. That shadow links to a realm your people have never heard of. This realm draws in knowledge, and the fire ignites the shadow on your realm and in your way of being and seeing and knowing. This information becomes a transfer, a positive, not entanglement of strings, but a positive exchange of information that your kind will soon become aware of on a very, as you would call, subconscious level. This information gives to you the most important basic things about yourself, because of the fact that this information tells about the very cosmos of which you have come from. The very cosmos of which your kind was born within. so very long ago, and not the slaves that some of you perceive yourselves to be now. This shadow and this fire will be seen by your people as something positive, and as something not denigrating to a religion that has no basis in truth in your world and never has. In this may be the opinion of an old man, but this is the observation of a very long life that has been filled with both light and shadow, but also darkness and overage and lesson. You know me as Odin, the supposed All-Father, and I bid you thank you.
Now let's go on to questions from the listeners.
Okay, so question number 1. I started wearing shungite on my lower back, which seems to help with interference implants in that location. Would silver also help? What about a law of one symbol drawn there?
Yes, both of these would be a great benefit to use, especially, shungite and silver. Those two, I know silver, the grays, and insectoids are highly allergic to them. Shungite will block waves from implants, even if you have one in you. I've noticed that works very well. And the law of one symbol always seems to draw out anything negative that you are supposed to be dealing with or taking care of.
Great, thanks. Okay, question number 2. You use the phrase, show me your heart space. I believe you mean for them to show you their feelings of love. Can you clarify what you mean and what you actually see or feel in response? Have you been asked by other entities to show your heart space, and how do you manage this? If you know, what might they see from their perspective?
This is actually a very good question. What it is that I feel is a rush of loving feeling course through me and around me. It is quick and intense. If a being cannot provide this feeling, then you should not interact with them. I actually have been asked by Fuma and the Forest people to show him my heart space. It is an overall knowing and feeling of love, higher self, and taking your brain power and channeling it through your heart space. What they feel on their end is a sense of love, authenticity, and a sense that you know who you truly are.
Okay, next question. I've heard Christopher mention that he is a member of House M, meaning that is his oversoul. Since M is one of the 3 main elements, along with the universal constant and the nature element, does that mean that all of us are a part of one of those 3 primary groups?
Yeah, this was another very good question. I'm glad this one was asked. Not necessarily. In some cases where different beings come from, some beings come from very different paradigms. They can come from a very different oversoul or grouping. In one case, I found a nature elemental that was the head of his own nature code in his own corner of the overall omniverse. In his section, the beings there were made up of colors and energy, but also have some human-like qualities. I came to find out that the harvesters grabbed a few of these souls for farming purposes here, and this is why some people have developed color blindness. I found that was very fascinating. There are actually a lot of different houses within these different parts of the omniverse. I even came across one that called himself the Unending, because he was actually, his part of the omniverse was basically a drain for all of the overage that we kick out of our dimension. I always wondered where it went. It goes to his dimension and gets transmuted and gets filtered back into the overall super omniverse. And I did not know this until I did a channeling about it about a couple months back. I thought that was actually very fascinating. So I think with that, we're up on the end of the show this evening. So I will go ahead and read the last affirmation and blessing. Go in peace, knowing that wondering if you are learning and growing is a confirmation that you are. And that was Joanna that wrote that one. So thank you, everybody, for listening to our show this evening.
Yes.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Have a great rest of the week.